Are you trying to establish your brand as a thought leader? Start a podcast, invite industry experts to be guests on your show, and watch your brand become the prime resource for decision makers in your industry. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm Jonathan Green.
And I'm James Carberry.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back. We are here today with Dan Oxenburgh. He's the VP of Marketing at Jitterbit. Dan, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
I am really excited to chat with you today, Dan. We're going to be talking about the content marketing tech stack that is working for you guys at Jitterbit. But before we do that, can you explain, just to give a little bit of context so folks understand, what is Jitterbit? Explain what you and your team are up to over there, Dan.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so Jitterbit, we're a cloud integration company. And so really what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve these integration challenges that companies have today, especially as they try to go digital. So when you think about all these disparate applications, we're here talking about a technology stack on the marketing side, and we have 5 or 6 different technologies that we're using. And think about the rest of the company, in sales, finance, HR. There's all these different applications that sometimes, and most of the time, don't actually talk to each other. So really think about Jitterbit as kind of the glue or the engine behind companies that are really looking to sort of digitally transform themselves and connect these disparate applications.
So Dan, we've got 5 specific tools that we're going to be talking about today that are really the primary players in Jitterbit's content marketing tech stack. This first one is Kapost. Can you talk to us about what is Kapost? What's it do? How does it play into the overall stack?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, Kapost is a platform that I'm really excited about. I will admit up front that we're a little early to the technology. We're just getting our feet wet with it in the last sort of 30 days. But Kapost really for us is going to be the operating system of the marketing team. And it's really all about campaigns, initiatives, and content. So when you think in terms of any kind of campaign that we're going to run, whether it's hosting a webinar or sponsoring an event or sending an email, there's a lot of different things that go into creating a campaign. There's different people on the team. There's different tasks, different due dates, different assets, different content that we have that we want to tie in. Kapost really allows us to do that on a campaign level and also a content level. So when you think of the day-to-day, who should be involved, what tasks are due, it's the engine that's really going to drive everything we do on the marketing team. The other piece of Kapost that's really interesting and really cool for us is it's where we host all of our content. So while we're creating content and then hosting that content for a webinar or for an event, we also want to make that content available to others in the company, because at the end of the day, the content we create needs to be amplified by every single person, whether it's in sales, in marketing, and any other department that there may be. And so Kapost has a feature called Gallery that lets us expose all this content internally. And so we have different collections that are then tagged. So if you're looking for a piece of content that is relevant to the manufacturing industry or retail and e-commerce, or there's a buyer persona, we want to sell into an IT director that may be evaluating integration software, we're able to tag all of our content. And that could be an ebook, it could be a video, it could be an email blast. And we make that available to everyone internally at the company. So it's really a one-stop shop for us in terms of how we manage our day-to-day activities as a marketing team, but also how we expose content out to the rest
so
of
it
the
almost
company.
acts as like a project management tool. Am I understanding that?
Yeah, it's a project management tool and a content and a campaign planning tool and repository for us.
Makes sense. I love it. Okay, so that's Kapost. This next tool that makes up you guys' content marketing stack is Marketo. Talk to us about how you guys are leveraging Marketo.
Yeah, so I'm sort of thinking in terms of the funnel here. We use Kapost to kind of get ourselves organized. Now you got to go actually execute on these campaigns. And Marketo is a big piece of that. So whether it's just where we're bringing in leads is really kind of the gatekeeper of all leads that come into the system, whether it's online or through an event or some other physical channel. We push everything through Marketo. And that's where we do all of our segmentation. So again, we want to run a specific campaign to IT directors at manufacturing companies. Well, we segment the database in Marketo so that we can then run campaigns to that specific group. We also, of course, run all of our emails through there, drip nurture campaigns. So when you think about a lead that comes in, they may not be ready to buy. They may want to be educated about a certain piece of the platform or how integration can affect their e-commerce business. The idea is then you put them on a track where we can provide valuable content to them and really educate them about integration in general, but also what we do at Jitterbit. So I would say Marketo is really the linchpin to, really all the campaign activity that we do on a day-to-day basis and week to week.
Got it. Okay, so we've covered Kapost, Marketo. This next one is a predictive lead scoring tool that you guys use called Madkudo. Can you talk to us about this tool?
Yeah. So again, when you think in terms of the funnel, now we've created these leads, and of course, every lead we create is qualified, and sales should be chomping at the bit to get at them. But more seriously, we do want to prioritize and qualify these leads as they come in, because we only want to put a certain number of leads in front of our BDRs, our business development reps. Those are the guys who actually will go and qualify leads and understand what projects people may have around integration. So the idea with Madkudo is, how do we get really smart about these leads that we're going to put in front of the team? And so what Madkudo does is it really gives us this sort of co-dynamic scoring model. And what I mean by that is it's looking at both fit and also engagement. So when you think about fit, we're looking at really demographic profile information. Is it the type of user that most often uses Jitterbit? Are they working at a company that is a company that most often will buy from Jitterbit? And so there's some really cool things going on behind the scenes here with Madkudo. It's looking at, does this lead match the profile of other companies or other customers that signed up with us in the past? And then it's also looking at engagement. So how are they engaging with content on the website? Are there certain channels that produce more opportunities than others? And even when you think about usage of our product, we offer a free 30-day trial. So Madkudo is tied in directly there. So you can quickly get a sense of what is the engagement level with the actual platform or the product that we're selling as well, and how do we then amplify what we're doing with them on a trial basis, but also get our BDRs involved so we can get some personal touches with those folks and make sure they're successful. So for us, it's really a key for us to say, how do you take this big swath of leads that we create every week or every month and put just the most qualified and highest priority leads in front of the BDR team?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So this next, so after Madkudo, this next tool is Bizible. I've actually talked to their VP of marketing, so I'm familiar with their product. But explain what's it do? How does it play into the stack?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, so when you think about, we've created leads now, we send them over to the BDR team, they're creating opportunities in the pipeline, all that lives in Salesforce. Eventually we win these deals. And so we also then want to understand, well, how do we do more of the good stuff and stop spending in money, investments, and time and resources on things that aren't working? And so for a long time, we were doing kind of this single-threaded analytics view of our opportunities or of our pipeline. What was the original lead source? Was it an event like Dreamforce, or did they click on an ad online and get to us? But there's a lot more that goes into the creation of a lead and the movement of that lead into an opportunity and then through the funnel to a closed deal. And that's what Bizible gives us. It's really a full funnel marketing attribution tool. And what's really cool about it is we can go beyond that sort of single threaded lead source and just look at what were all the touch points along the way from even before they filled out a form on the website. Did they click on a Google ad? Did they click on a display ad? And even if they didn't fill out the form that first time, we capture that first touch. So that's a really cool piece for us. But then as they move through the funnel, what content are they engaging with? What's working and what's not? And the really cool thing that we like is moving just beyond that lead source view of how we created an opportunity is we can look at different models. So there's the U-shaped model or a W-shaped model. And so this is all about how do you attribute different key points in the pipeline to the source of that lead. So one piece of content may be great for creating a lead, and another piece of content or another campaign may be awesome for converting that lead to an opportunity. So it's really given us the ability to get a lot smarter about how we look at leads.
That's really interesting. And so could you share maybe an example, Dan, of maybe a story of something that this tool kind of brought to light, and like, oh, I didn't realize that this piece of content actually works better at this stage of the funnel, or just so folks can get their head around it a bit?
Yeah, sure. So, one thing I would say has really been key for us is on the advertising or the digital front. It's where a big, healthy chunk of our budget goes. And so what's great about that is you can track things from the very beginning. It's a little different than something like a physical event where you're not quite sure why they stopped by your booth. You can get a much more granular view of which ad they clicked on. Did they search for a certain keyword to see that ad? But what we didn't have before Bizible was they might click on an ad, And that's how they discover us. They may click around the website. They may not fill out a form, and they may disappear. And they may come back a week later, a month later, and they may come in through a different source. And to us, what that would have looked like was, well, they seem to have hit the website and they fill out a form. We're not quite sure how they got here. They must have heard about us from somewhere. But with Visible now, what we're seeing is now actually they click on that display ad, which was displayed on this website after searching for a term like Salesforce integration. And so we're able to kind of make that connection now between how they originally heard about us and how they ended up in our database. And that's been really big.
Okay. So you guys are now being able to double down on the digital advertising that's actually converting or working for you. Got it.
That's right. Campaigns that we thought may have been working well are working even better than we thought, or there's some campaigns we thought were not working, which actually are. Interesting.
Very cool. All right. So this last tool in your content marketing tech stack that we're going to talk about is actually your tool, Jitterbit. Talk to us about why you guys kind of eating your own dog food and using your own tool is so important to kind of bring all of these things together.
Yeah, you bet. And we actually say drink our own champagne here rather than dog. It really is key for us because, again, we just went through 5 tools. There's another 5 tools in the tech stack just on the marketing side. But there's always other systems that the company is using. And one of the big ones actually for us is our platform itself. So I mentioned earlier we're doing these 30-day trials. And so every given week we have 100 or 200 people signing up to actually try Jitterbit. And there's a lot of really critical, important information about how they're using our platform that on the marketing side we can utilize to put better, content in front of that makes sense for where they're at. So when you think in terms of, you may have a user that's having a lot more success than the average user on the platform. And so they don't want to get the sort of basic 101, how do you get started with Jitterbit information. So with that information, we can then shift what track they're on as far as how we're talking about getting success with the platform. And so this was a big one for us where there was no integration between Jitterbit Harmony and Salesforce and Marketo. So we didn't have a view into that information about 2 years ago. So using our own platform, Jitterbit, we're able to tie that information into the tools that we use. And so ultimately what that's doing is it's just creating a better user experience or customer experience for us. So we're not just pushing standard information, we're pushing information in context to people. So that's been big for us. And again, one other thing I'd say is we have a lot of technology that does have built-in or out-of-the-box integrations with popular systems like Salesforce. Most vendors we talk to have an integration with Salesforce. For the most part, those work for us. There are cases where they don't work quite as well. So, I won't name, certain specific products, but there's processes that may have taken 30 minutes for us to get information from one system to the other with a certain sort of out-of-the-box integration. We've been able to really use our own tool to improve that down to seconds. And so when you're talking about, the customer experience, if you can move from 30 minutes to more real time in your response rate, that's huge.
No, and I've been asking a lot of the folks how big their marketing teams are. And it seems like the bulk of folks are, I wish we had more. We've got 4, we've got 3. And so with time and resources being so valuable because they're just not there, being able to save, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here on something that would have taken a resource, that 20 minutes to do, now using what you guys have built, either happening much quicker or automatically without having to touch it at all.
Yeah, exactly right. It gives you scale and it gives you the ability to, if you have someone focusing on entering data manually, that's not what they should be doing. There's systems like Jitterbit that can handle that for you. So you can focus their attention on more strategic initiatives, which is something we try to do every week.
I love it. Dan, this has been incredible. I really appreciate you sharing your content marketing tech stack. If someone wants to stay connected with you or they want to learn more about Jitterbit and figure out how they can start using the platform to help bring their own systems together and become more efficient, what's the best way for them to go about doing both of those things?
Yeah, so if you guys want to check out Jitterbit, we do offer the free trial. You can go out to jitterbit.com/try, free 30-day trial, full access to the platform. And if you want to connect with me or anyone else on the team, you can reach out to us, info@jitterbit.com. We're also on Twitter at Jitterbit, the handle. So
awesome, yeah. Dan. Well, wonderful, man. This has been incredible. I really appreciate you hanging out with me this afternoon. And I think our attendees are going to get a ton of value out of this. So thanks again.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show in iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you or someone you know would be an incredible guest for the B2B Growth Show, email me at jonathan@sweetfishmedia.com. Let us know. We love connecting with B2B executives, and we love sharing their wisdom and perspective with our audience.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.